Roll call, please.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. McCormick?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
And Mr. Walker?
Here.
Approval of the minutes of January 26, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, but I think it's from January 22nd.
Support.
I was on a 26 kick, I think.
I
when
think we
was
need a
typing all
20, we
that.
need a 22 there. Moved by McCormick, supported by Walker.
That is correct.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Would there be any changes to the agenda? Would there be any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll look for an approval of the agenda as written.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved by Beggs, seconded by Hardy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Would we have any public comment this morning? Any public comment? Hearing none. Administrator Biard, Crystal Valley Dam discussion.
So the board had asked some time ago to look into the funding for the Crystal Valley Dam. I had reached out to Wimserdick about grant opportunities and was informed by them that there are several opportunities for dam removal, but nothing for restoration. I also reached out to Susie Knoll with the Conservation Resource Alliance and about working with them on the Crystal Valley Dam because I know that they had a lot to do with our Marshville Dam. Susie got back with me and said they would like to do a site visit in the spring, and I would like to recommend that we call in the Conservation Resource Alliance to come in and do that site visit and provide a report to the board so that you can make a sound decision from there.
Tim?
Yeah, I think it makes good sense to kind of have parallel, fact-finding missions, replacement, removal, kind of concurrently, so we can, when we have all the information, we just kind of streamline the process. I think it's a good idea.
If I may.
Mr. Walker?
We're only going to have so much forgiveness from Eagle until they start demanding that we do things and stuff, and they're coming in to do an inspection this spring too, aren't they?
Yes, they haven't set a date yet, but they
you know,
did let us know that
after
they're
the weather,
doing
they'll
that.
be coming in too, so when we get, I think we know what that report's gonna say, unless they're gonna say it's worse. But I don't see us being able to delay an awful lot longer. I think within the next year maximum, and I'd rather not go that far, but I think within the next year we're gonna have to get a direction that we're going to go.
Mr. Hardy?
Did Eagle have anything in the way of grants? I know they do some. But I don't know if we checked with those folks or.
I did not, but on the list from Wimserdick, there was some stuff from Eagle included in those that they were stating that they felt that there was some grants going to be coming out from them, but not for restoration, they said.
Yeah.
We did have James Tiffany and I did have a conversation with the gentleman from the fisheries, and he did say that there's nothing available this year. He doesn't believe there's going to be anything next year. They may be able to come up with 100,000, but that it's not going to be. They're going to be minimal.
Was that Fish and Wildlife, the federal?
Yeah, I do believe that's who that was. Yes.
So that would have been the Lamprey thought and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be federal.
Is there any cost for the CRA inspection, or?
No,
Yes.
Susie said that they would just come out and take a look at it for us and, provide a report.
Good.
Anything else in regards to the dam?
Paul, what do you think?
I think since Eagle raised the bar on spillway capacity on us, that they took away the, the opportunities to repair that dam as it should be. I don't know if there's anything that they could do to give us a waiver, give us a break on that. The computations that they're using for a 200-year storm made our spillway too small.
Yeah.
But those of us that were here for the 12-inch rain, that spillway sufficed. I think this spillway could be designed with an overflow as we have at the Hart Dam that would allow us to keep the dam as it is with an additional spillway to the south that would take away that overflow. There are options that are there in dam design.
Yep.
And Jim and I, Mr. Tiffany and I have discussed a few of those. And last meeting we discussed this. We talked about the cost of the dam in the Spicer report versus the cost of where Mr. Tiffany was at, but in regards to the bar being raised on spillway capacity, I think the Spicer report is now kind of out of date, and they'd have to take another look at it and see what a repair would look like with a bigger spillway.
Yeah.
And then going back to the other half of the dam, when we look at the sediment and sediment removal, that is the other side of that needs to be done to take care of that, and part of that would probably come with a dam removal also. But the thing that they've lost sight of, and it would take a circuit court judge to make that decision as to what happens to the revision or the reversion of the land transfers that were done in 1938 when they originally built the dam, wherein I believe the wording was such that if the dam were ever to be removed, those properties would be returned to the original owner. So there's a legal question behind this also that a circuit judge would most likely have to answer.
Yeah, I don't know if those surveys, I haven't seen any out there. Might be worthwhile looking at the deeds, but a lot of the times those are written kind of like any waterway, that they go to the water's edge. So depending on, if the property was transferred 10, 15, 20 times, those are normally carried forward on the deed to say to the water's edge. So it might not be a huge deal, but certainly have to be looked at depending on which way it goes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's still a lot more to consider with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad that they changed kind of the rules halfway through the game, and
Yeah, if it's a 200-year storm and we look at what's happening over on the Muskegon River with Croton and Hardy now in the discussions, and they drained the pond in White Cloud, there's been some things going on with Eagle that communities have not been real happy with either.
Yeah. So
I don't know if there's anything that else we could pursue, but I'm sure within this time frame, with an Eagle visit and a CRA visit, and Susie's very knowledgeable and Gary knows what we're talking about, we'll have a better picture.
yeah.
I don't want to be this one that says we're taking the dam out. That's never been my position, but if they've made it so difficult for us to repair and keep the dam, we're just going to have to deal with it.
Well, and I think it's imperative on us to check both equations and see where that falls.
But then,
So-
I went to Gales Pond the other day again and stood there, and we repaired Gales Pond with sheet steel, and it was so simple. We drive sheet steel all the way around Pentwater Lake. We've driven sheet steel on Lake Michigan. I just have a real trouble grasping why this is so difficult. Kenny Adams could go in there and pound that steel down just like Danny Halleck could or Joel McCormick could, and we'd be done.
Paul, I think when you look at the big picture in the state of Michigan, and you look at the Black River Dam in Gogebic County, that dam was owned by the Department of Natural Resources. That went out. Eagle cited the Department of Natural Resources being in violation of the Dam Safety Act and allowing that dam to go out. And it's interesting reading news articles from up there and the comments from both sides on up there. And the other one that's going on in the UP is at Au Gres, is a hydroelectric dam that was put in the 1930s, and that's at Forest Lake area with the campground. Well, they sold the property all around it, and they sold the property downstream, and the person that owns the dam now can't get to the powerhouse. And Eagle is playing the game with that one too. So I think Eagle is a very, very powerful agency, and I sometimes wonder if they're more powerful than they should be.
And the other thing, we've lost all the institutional knowledge in these organizations, you know, through COVID, and we've had a lot of people leave. All of the older experienced people have left, so we've got a new generation in there that's running on algorithms, and they're running on computer programs, and I'm not so sure that site visits and common knowledge is being at the forefront. You know, I remember the day that the Hart Dam went out, we were there, and the decisions that were made, and you know, the dam's been replaced, repaired, it's functional, it's operating beautifully, and you know, I would hate to see Eagle come in and say that our capacity is gone at the Hart Dam and we're going to take that dam out too. You know, this is the power that they have.
And I hear this all the time at one of the committees I'm on. Put all of the information into the computer and let AI make the decision on what you're going to do.
That's what's
Yeah.
Just a philosophical issue, not with the dam, but with Eagle. There's a philosophical issue with the department as a whole, that while as human beings we are to take care of the earth, we are subservient to the environment, not this environment subservient to us. And so there's just there's a philosophical issue at play there, that the priorities just a little mixed up, but I'll never be able to fix that. So aside from abolish the 3 other agencies and rebuild them. So
no, and it was a WPA project. You know, most of our country was unemployed at that time, and they were looking for ways to keep people busy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that Franklin Delano Roosevelt and that the WPA projects, the dam was put in for recreation, but it was also put in so that farm workers had a place to get clean. It was extremely popular after pickles and row crops, that they had a place when they, you know, Crystal Valley was full of pickle vats. I don't know if anybody knew that, but downtown Crystal Valley was full of pickle vats, and that was pickle receiving. And many of the farm families rode the wagon into the pickle plant, and the kids and everybody went and took a swim before they got in the wagon and went home. That was part of the lifestyle. And you know, I remember we put our first showers in for our migrants, and that alleviated a lot of people going to Crystal Lake to swim, or they were going to Crystal Valley to swim. You know, our migrant families utilized those places every day for hygiene. But times have changed.
I wonder if Gary has any input.
Would you like to say something, Gary?
Am I allowed to?
Yes.
Good morning.
You're the man
Morning.
with all the wisdom, so.
I've just lived it. So a couple of things. The thing about the pond that's unique there is the fact that the property owners do not own to the edge of the water. There's actually, 5 years ago, we commissioned through the parks and through the county with Dr. Sobey a review by Brian Monton of that property, and he determined that there is a 10-foot easement around the circumference of the pond. So the property owners own to this easement. They might own into, he was unsure, it's open as to whether they own to the center. So Michigan lakes typically, in the state of Michigan, inland lakes at least, the property owners own to a point out in the middle of the lake, so everything comes together, which is different than Lake Michigan, that we won't get into that today. So what Brian Monton came up with is what Paul mentioned. There are a number of old-time, long-time property owners that have been there who probably are not there anymore, I'm going to guess. So trying to find who and how that property be conveyed back to the former property owners, that would be something for a court, circuit court, I guess, district court, I'm not sure. So that would be, one issue that has to be dealt with. One of the things that we learned about Marshville, and of course it's not, the dam there was breached in 1970, so it goes back a lot further, but we commissioned an engineering company to come in and basically tell us if we could rebuild the Marshville Dam. It was determined that we didn't have the funds to rebuild it, plus Eagle wouldn't let us rebuild it. It was breached to the point that it needed to be removed. So we were able to work with the DNR, or with Eagle rather, Mark Tonello was the DNR Eagle fish biologist, and he put us on to CRA, Conservation Resource Alliance. CRA didn't work in Oceana County at that time, didn't know the folks at all. We also worked with Wimserdick, with Aaron down in Muskegon, and they had basically, can't think of her name right now, Evans, Kathy Evans. And Kathy Evans was a bulldog when it comes to environmental issues. She knew the water and she knew the people. So the thing that we've learned, and much like I've learned in my life, is it's how you work with people. So Kathy Evans had a lot of knowledge of issues, but she also knew all the Eagle people. She knew who to go to when we needed to talk to a stream person. So you go to Grand Rapids to talk to John in the stream department. You don't spend your time talking to Kristen here because it's beyond her scope. Same thing happens with CRA. They know who to talk to for funding. Interesting, what funding came from CRA, 50% of their funding came from private donations. I mean, it's amazing how much difference there is. So the other thing that comes up regularly, and it is an issue, I think, is the Seaway Lamprey coming into the creek area. CRA is actually working on the Baldwin River with the Great Lakes Fishery Trust, which is basically the people that go out and stop the Seaway Lamprey. That's who Kevin Mann works for. Paul and I have met with him a couple of times. Long story short, these are folks, both agencies know people that get things done. And that's the key, is you have to find those people. They have engineers, they have scientists on their staff. Unfortunately, when Kathy Evans left, they lost Greg, who passed away, who was one of their biologists, so to speak, streamologists. And the other gentleman retired, so Fallon took the job. And Fallon has a lot of good knowledge about watersheds and so on, and runs our watershed group. But they don't have the background that CRA has with 4 or 5 biologists. Kim Balke has been there for 29 years as basically a research watershed person. She knows all the people in the state. When you get speed dial with Kim on it, you've made it. So long story short, it's my recommendation, and I've talked to Tracy about this, that you try to partner with CRA or Wimserdick, maybe both. That's what we were able to do, depending on what the level is of funding, and come up with basically a plan. Now, one of the things the county we don't have is we don't have an engineer. We were lucky to have John Warner on Parks for a while, and he was a professional engineer, but he was assigned not to our department. So having somebody like CRA take over the lead, and they get their money basically out of the grant, so they'll find grants from Fish and Wildlife, NOAA, Eagle, all sorts of things. But the key is trying to find the people to work with and the opportunity to go forward. So that would be my overview. There's no easy way. I went to a lot of the meetings 5 years ago out in Crystal Valley. Folks out there are very passionate about the pond. I can understand that. It's a really idyllic setting. But in rereading the Spicer report and then reading Mr. Tiffany's report, I'm amazed at how similar they are. The conclusions are the same, except for one. Spicer, one of their recommendations was the possibility of removal. Mr. Tiffany never talked about that. He talked about some other ways to go. But with this new 200-year rainfall issue, I don't know what you can do. Putting more embankment on top of what's there already, I don't know if it's going to support it. What's the engineering cost going to be? And how this whole thing started 5-6 years ago is when I took that job as being Parks Chair. I wanted to make sure that in the future the people that come after me don't have to deal with a lot of additional cost. And one of the problems we have is trying to do upkeep and maintenance. And there's always some maintenance to everything, obviously. But trying to minimize the maintenance for the long term has always been my goal, as I've been on the parks for that matter. So that's what I had.
Paul? May I respond to what Mr. McKean
please.
said? Gary, I think you were 100% correct on the interaction with the people who do these things. I remember when we had the issue in Otto Township when National Forest Service came in and surveyed all of the land and all of the property, and there were some buildings that they said was on Forest Service property. Well, the survey that the people were going by was from 1912, and when they did all of the chains and everything, and it got to be really, really touchy out there for a while. And we ended up getting the name of a professor from Ferris who was in the survey classes and who was an instructor there. Paul, you may remember his name. He's from Shelby. He was a Shelby. He was born and raised in Shelby, and he was in his 80s at that time. Well, we asked him for information on, how this can happen, and he actually went out and looked at the property and looked at all of it, and all of a sudden, when he got involved with this, the Forest Service got a little bit easier to work with, and a little bit easier because most of the surveyors that did the work of the Forest Service had him as an instructor at Ferris. He was the person in the state of Michigan to go to on all of it. He just passed away within the last 2 or 3 years. But I think your point is exactly on line. You need the people that know the people to help you with these things.
So if I could just say one more thing, part of the process of finding grants to do this type of work, whether it be removal or repair, however, you have to do it in an orderly fashion. So when we did Marshville, there was a request for proposal was written by Wimserdick. This is before CRA actually entered into it. It was sent out to 5 engineering firms, actually 6 engineering firms, 5 responded. And what they did is they took the grant proposals back and they graded them, much like they sat around, Kathy Evans and Aaron and myself and several others more knowledgeable than I about streams at that time, sat around and how does this actually work about what we really want to do? It doesn't look at cost. So cost was a factor, obviously, later in the program. But in order to get the grants that you want, the grantors want to know exactly, are we getting the best deal for our money? I'm going to give you $500,000 to do this. Have you talked to 5 different engineering firms and what's the best price and who meets the criteria the best? So that was something I learned very quickly from the beginning. And then we did the same thing with a contractor. We had a bridge contractor through the Road Commission. Unfortunately, only one bridge contractor was able to bid on the bid because it was a wood bridge and he was familiar with the product. But as far as the contractors to do all the work at Marshville, there were 4. And the one that they selected was not the one I would have selected personally, but as I got to know him, this guy can do anything. You tell him what you think you want. You don't tell him how to do it, but you tell him what you think you want, and bang, it gets done. It's amazing. And he was a low bidder all the time. And we're working with him in the Conservation District to put a new bridge in out on the Stony Creek property, the 40-acre piece, and we're working with Eagle. Well, our golly, doesn't the fact that he knows the Eagle people real well, and what can we do to massage this? What can we do to do that? Turns out that he used to work for the Forest Service for quite a number of years and knew a lot of these people all over the state, and the opportunity to do this type of work is right up his alley. I mean, if I had to do it personally myself, I would call him without any trouble myself. So, but that's the kind of thing, in the world we live in the community we live in, we all know each other. When we bought the cottage at the Point 30 years ago, our neighbor said, "Careful what you say about your neighbors because they're all related." Well, that's kind of the case here too. And I think it's great.
I think it's great.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Gary.
Gary. Yes?
Part of the issue that I have with it is, it's a movement across the country, take all the dams out. So then we have the bandwagon effect, everybody wants to be on the winning side, takes away the critical thinking, you know, and so that's hard to overcome. You got the whole country's in a movement to take out dams, and you're not really analyzing the dam.
Right.
In the part that all you've got to do is go over Hardy or Croton and look at the real estate that's been built on those two ponds. And what would happen if those lake shore homeowners lost their ponds? You know, it's amazing, this movement. But dam safety is very important, and if you go over Hardy right now, they're working on it. You know, there are some things being done to make it safer. But that was one of the largest projects in Michigan, you know, in the 30s was Croton and Hardy, and they created a beautiful recreation place that's full of Grand Rapids and Consumers Energy people, you know. Gary?
I'd just like to say one more thing about Gales Pond. In Gales Pond right now, the confluence of several creeks comes in there. That's what creates the pond. I'm not sure what year the slit steel was put in. I believe, from what I understand, that there was some failure of the weir that's there. There's still a structural weir. Actually, the county board, as I understand it from one of the commissioners at that time, said that the county board voted to drop the level of Gales Pond 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems we have in Gales Pond right now is we have an overgrowth of hybrid and unnatural reeds, and this is getting to be a problem as far as fire safety. So we're going to have to hire a contractor potentially in the future to come in with an excavator and dig out these reeds. So we have a natural reoccurring reed that we see all over, and it's hybridized with an invasive that's come in and become much more aggressive. What prevents this from happening is what's allowing this to happen is that the water has dropped significantly in the last several years because we haven't had the rainfall that we've needed. But at the same time, it's allowed this plant to come in and take over the whole area. It's no longer a pond, it really is a wetland. And that is a major problem. So that's something else we're going to be facing in parks in the near future. And I happen to know this guy who does excavation work, Sean Knaus, the same guy at Marshville. He's going to look at us for free and see what can be done. One of the recommendations by one of our board members on parks was to burn it. Well, burning it doesn't help because there's roots, and the roots just come up with more influence, and that's not the key. So now I guess my point is, do we really know what the science is? We don't know. Taking the dams out, the dams were put in for lots of different reasons, for fishing, for bathing, just recreation, creating ponds and so on. But had this maybe, what would you say, probably, I've lived here for 30 years. When was the slit steel put in, Paul, do you think?
Probably about 15 years ago, I believe.
Yeah,
there was a period when the pond was drained and it was just a creek running down through there, and
yeah.
it was brutal. It was
Reunion's Creek comes in
If
through.
I remember right, when we did that before, there was also concern, and we had to work with the road commission because that embankment is also a county road.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's part of the dam, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an ongoing discussion I have with Mr. Timmer about the maintenance of that.
They will claim the county road, but they don't want to claim the embankment.
That's correct. That's
Kind of
correct.
like the county road commission gave the county board Gales Pond or Crystal Pond.
So I could name a whole list of county parks.
Yeah.
My question to Bill Myers has been, well, Bill, if you gave us these parks, where's the money to help support them? And now that the road commission has a bigger budget than the county board does, I think it's time that they took the parks back. I better not say that. I just said that'll fall on deaf ears. I'm only here till December.
You have
so.
to keep thinking all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
it gets down to the point, what is the right decision? We don't know. Ecologically,
Right.
I've spent a lot of time with master gardening, master science, master naturalist, and conservation district. We don't know. We just don't know. You know, Phragmites is a major issue throughout the county. And autumn olive, you know,
We
used
paid
to-
for that.
We used to
We
give it
bought
away.
that.
Yeah. Dropping the water to level 2, you know, 25 years ago, whatever, 2 feet, we might not be in the position we're in now because of it. So
No, thank you, sir.
I'll
Thank
talk to you in 25 years.
Would there be anything else in regards to the dam? Hearing none, department head reports. Sheriff Mass.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning,
Glad
Sheriff.
everybody could find a parking spot. Seems quite busy around here, around the courthouse today. We've got a lot of jurors in. We have a big jury trial. We just play a small part in that. That's mostly state police, but most of my guys are the ones that aren't working today are out at training. We have we're moving to our new TASER platform, TASER 10, and all of our guys are going through that, our corrections and road patrol. It's out at Elbridge Gym right now, and they're getting some muscle memory, getting some repetition on that new device. It's quite different than the P26 that we've carried for the last several years. But if you notice, you see any of the guys around, if you see Bailiff Gregor, he's carrying a new TASER 10, and the guys that are carrying them will have the new devices on them if they don't already. So, and those training hours, they count towards our continuing professional education hours as well too. So that helps us there as well. This morning I think we had 46 or 47 in jail, so the number's down just a little bit, but that's fine. It's holding steady. We've had several accidents that we've been policing. The roads, you know, some of our back roads are really icy. On my way to work this morning, two vehicles that crashed just down the road from my house. My guys were there before I left the house this morning, policing an accident. So we continue to respond to weather events such as the icy roads. And you'll hear from the undersheriff later about he's busy on several different projects, including getting the AED project and several different things. So we're busy. Any questions for me? All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Sheriff.
Now you get the other report.
Now the other department head report.
So Gary McKean, Oceana County Planning Commission. I dropped off this flyer to each of you. This is an educational program. Every year through planning we try to work with MSU Extension through education. This particular one I think is really interesting, communicating through conflict. And this is a program that MSU Extension has put together. Mary Riley, who's been our educator for the last 4 or 5 years on our projects, is going to be doing this one as well. So I think this is pertinent because of interaction in the public, but also interaction with boards and appointed commissions and so on. So I think this might be worthwhile. This will be publicized. The Planning Commission is paying the $180 fee, so there's no cost to any of the participants. It'll be held at the Griswold property, county property, and it would be on, I believe it's April 22nd. Yep. So that's a good part of that. Another thing we're going to be taking up in planning, Kent County in the last number of years has started a farmland preservation amendment. I'm not sure what the right word is, but it's been publicized fairly well in Kent County. And I think through Planning Commission we're going to start taking a look at what that would take to happen here in Oceana County. Obviously it's probably funded through many sources. Don't know, but we're going to look into that, so we'll be exploring that next Thursday on the 5th of March. Also in parks, we have a lot of good things coming up this year. We'll be on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Our meeting will be looking at our work list for the year. That will include the potential, or not the potential, but the starting of the Black Lake Boardwalk. So this will be on the south side of the property. We've had a select committee that's before of our board members that have put together the future for the boardwalk out there, and so I'm excited to get that started. We're also excited to get started with a new employee, which I'm not sure how to handle that. That'd be kind of fun. But we've already had a gentleman come forward and he's interested to apply. So been working with Tracy's office to lay out what we think we want and what we need. We're going to be filing a grant with the Community Foundation for $3,000 for equipment. So it's one thing to have an employee, and we have a wonderful the gray whale, as we call it, vehicle, but we don't have a lot of equipment. So we'll hopefully get some of that, and it's going to be a good year. We will be having vernal pool training at Doolittle Park, April the 12th. So this is through the state of Michigan vernal pool patrol, and we have a vernal pool on the Doolittle property on what would be the south edge corner along the road, and they'll be looking and investigating frog eggs and salamanders and toads and all sorts of things. So if you want to get your feet wet or not, bring your boots and join the vernal pool patrol training, which is it's kind of a fun day for adults. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Curtis. All right, Curtis Burdett, Oceana County Economic Alliance. I'll just hand out here. I did some recaps. I just wanted to get in front of you at least once a month. I didn't get a chance in January here, but just threw together. I'll get these to Tracy ahead of time too, so we have them in the packet. But just want to touch on a couple things, just kind of recapping all the work, because there's so many different pieces to what we do in the Oceana County Economic Alliance. Do we need any more? Okay. So I won't read through everything, but just kind of want to touch on a couple of points real quick. Obviously, one thing we're always working on is making sure our organization is strong, so a lot going on there. Of the three pillars, people, place, and prosperity. So people is really what we do in working with education and anything that helps people directly, access to food, access to housing, all those different pieces. And so got a chance to get over to the Lakeshore Food Club. Got on the front page of the paper, so always makes mom happy. But also we do an HR network, so working with our HR leaders to talk about the things that help their workers, and I work with United Way as well. So some great stuff happening there. And then in place, we've got some neat things happening in downtown Shelby. So there's a developer looking to do some mixed use in the vacant lot across from the bank there, and so excited for that, see where that goes, and having some great conversations with West Shore on their Heart Campus that they're putting together. Also, sit on the Brownfield, the Oceana County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority here. So that 3-year grant from EPA for community assessment, I think last time I was in front of you, I said we mostly had committed all of it, and now at our March meeting coming up here on the 10th, we will likely commit the last piece to, it basically covers the environmental assessment phase 1, phase 2. So we did phase 1 for Darkwater Coffee for a spot in the industrial park here in Hart, and they're ready to move forward on a phase 2 to look to develop their own roasting facilities. They're roasting right now out at the starting block, so great to see. The board was very excited to make sure there was a little bit left to help cover that phase 2. There's just a little bit of the lead arsenate that they put on because it was the orchard land, so you get a little bit of lead in the soil, a little bit of arsenic is what they're expecting to find there, so probably pretty easy to maintain there. Got a chance to walk through Lineage Logistics, which was great, and lots of great things happened there. One of the things that we talked about was make sure to be engaged on the east side. So I've been working with Walkerville Quick Mart. They've run into a couple of difficulties with the gas tanks and getting that going. So it sounds like they've got a solution that works, but I made sure our legislators knew too in case they had any resources, because it was a state regulation piece. So just wanted to make sure they were engaged. And then there's some conversations. So West Michigan Food Processing Association is a regional association for food processors. Their director retired. They're kind of looking to what they're going to do next. They're not planning any events this year, but they usually have a couple of events up at the Hart Research Station and bring in 80 people on that. And so we're having some conversations how we might be able to keep that going. And who might help keep that going. And so I'm not a lead role on that, just trying to help find out if some of our partners that have the resources and the expertise would be able to help make that happen. And so yeah, lots of great stuff going on. And then the other piece was on the procurement to keep that Oceana focus on our events. We did bid out our annual event for this year. Originally it was going to be May, where we have moved that back to October, but the winning bid was Double J was selected, so we'll be moving it to Double J this year. I'm really excited about that. So, but and then following that is, so Tracy and I talked about just sharing a press release on the relationship between the county and the Oceana County Economic Alliance with the increased amount, and just the opportunity what that supports in the community, and just to let people know that my services are here to help with whatever they need. And so that's in there too, so we'll be sending that out very soon to just share that with the press and help share the good news and just help people know what's going on. So, but if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see that in Walkerville, they've got tanks above ground now.
Okay.
There are some tanks in Walkerville, so hopefully that'll happen fairly soon. And yeah, the food club is big news. I've heard quite a bit about it, so congratulations.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I was helped a little bit when we were there before, but we were having a meeting at the starting block, and so this Tuesday I'm going to do a shift over there and with John Kinahan from Lineage, and so just because he wants to get his team, they have hours that they're asked to go volunteer in the community and get paid for as part of their work, and people don't always have an opportunity to do that, so he wants to be able to do that and then send a shift over there. Oh, and also on the east side, doing a lot with the Hesperi Art Project. So they're planning 2 murals, one on Ed's, and then there's another one, a smaller one that they'll have there, and then they also just had a sculpture that they put in, and so that was being my colleague in Newaygo, Julie Burrell, who left there, and there'll be a new person coming in Newaygo for their economic development, but she was leading that, so I took over that piece since more of it's happening on the Oceana side. So excited to see some of those things happen. So there's going to be a big beautiful mural on the side of Ed's Orchard that you'll see from the street there this summer, so that's going to be really exciting. I'm sure there'll be an open house and great celebration once that's official. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would there be any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll adjourn the Properties, Environment, and Economic Development Committee.
Are you ready for finance? You ready for finance?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Finance and Administration Committee. May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hardy?
Here.
Mr. Beggs?
Here.
Mr. McCormick?
Here.
Mr. Erickson?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, here.
I'd ask for approval of the meeting minutes from February 12th, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Beggs. Is that date right?
I think so.
Yeah. Support by McCormick. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll ask for approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion
Walker.
by Beggs, support by Walker. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Is there any public comment at this time for the Finance and Administration Committee? Hearing none, we'll move on. Under Sheriff Schiller, a flock camera performance resolution for municipalities.
Yes. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I had to send that request through from MDOT. It's a formality for them to get those approved by boards, commissions, municipalities when they're placing flock cameras on state highway trunk lines. It's just one of their requirements. It has to come from the board that oversees that municipality. So it's really nothing out of the ordinary. They sent a whole packet of stuff that needed to be completed, and this is just one of those in the process. We're still hoping to run the trial or the they call it the Project Prove It, this summer. So once the ground thaws, so we're just trying to stay ahead of the curve in terms of the permitting process for the M roads. So I'm talking to Mr. Timmer regarding permitting for any of the local roadways.
Any questions, Mr. Walker?
Just a couple of things there. Remember the local units of government that own their roads, along with the county.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
But just a couple of things, Ryan, and I don't know if you're aware of them, that the House of Representatives has 2 bills that have been introduced that has bipartisan support in Michigan on restrictions on flock cameras.
Yeah, we're watching it, we're kind of waiting to see what happens.
And the other thing is, in lieu of what happened last week in the Detroit Police Department with the 2 officers who were terminated for dissemination of information to federal agencies against Detroit Police Department policy, I cannot tell you this. I can just suggest, having been in the White Lake area when there was a problem with information from one department disseminated by another department and how ugly that got, I certainly hope that you and the sheriff have the time to consider an airtight policy on who can disseminate the information from the block cameras to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. They Flock themselves, they will send you model policies if you get to a point where you are implementing them. And I know MMRMA also has policy templates that are recommended.
I would suggest that be in during the trial basis too.
Sure.
That somebody can't pull that information off a flock camera and know somebody or send it to a federal agency thinking
Sure.
they're doing something.
Yep.
I'm not saying anybody would do that in your department, but when I look at Detroit Police Department and I look what happened between Whitehall and Montague when I was down there,
Yeah.
it can get
Absolutely.
really ugly.
Great point.
But thank you for allowing me to say that, Under Sheriff.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, comments?
If you don't on that, as long as I'm up here, I could just hit on a couple other things. But I could do it in the public comment section if it's not necessarily related to this exact agenda item, whatever you would prefer.
That's fine.
I plan on having a couple of proposals for you for Finance and Equalization Committee next month for the March 12th meeting. One of them being a small rural tribal body-worn camera grant application alongside of a Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority RAF grant application. I think running both of those grant applications alongside each other will give us a good opportunity to fund body-worn cameras. It's long been overdue. I've been waiting for over a year for this grant to get released to the public, and it just came open here in the last 6 weeks. It's a short window of opportunity, so I just want to I'll have that proposal to you. I'm waiting for some other documents to come back, so that will be coming towards you. We've been super blessed with a number of donations to the Community Foundation and through the work of a number of different community people for AEDs for patrol cars and in the community. And so I'll have a proposal sent to you as well for that. And that's really a blessing from this board to receive some money and to spend some money. So that's a really good thing. And then at the same time will probably be a request to purchase a drone in that same request from us. Again, out of donations that have been sent through the Community Foundation. So Community Foundation is a great partner. They've been doing some wonderful things for us, and we're super excited about a couple of those things. You probably hear in the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that we're rolling out a new program this year called the Church Safety Network, and we're excited about that. There's a lot going on across the country as it relates to safety in churches and houses of worship, and so we're taking some proactive steps. Our churches locally have they've been asking, and they would like some more from us, just in terms of education and communication and partnership. And so we're excited about this program. We're going to have a kickoff meeting in a couple of weeks, and so it should be really good. So we're still actively looking for a corrections deputy and a patrol deputy. So we're actively seeking people. Lieutenant Bosley sent our job posting to, I think, almost every police academy in the state this last week. So hopefully we'll get some resumes and generate some interest. But we're still looking. So any questions? I threw a lot out there at you. I apologize. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Administrator Biard, temporary animal control office staff.
So, as you know, our animal control doesn't ask for much. I keep telling him that if there's a need, that they need to make us aware of it, and that doesn't come forth very often. We did have a discussion about how busy they get during the summer months, and he asked if there would be a potential for a temporary animal control staff to be hired for the summer months, 4 months out of the year, from Memorial Day through September, for no more than $5,000. That person will work 12 to 24 hours per week, just helping man the phones, with adoptions, taking in animals and so forth. And that's what this request is for.
Mr. Walker.
When Tracy told me this, I said, in all of my tenure and loss of hair on the County Board of Commissioners, this is the first time that I can remember since Michael Garcia has been our animal control officer, he has ever asked for anything.
Yeah.
And I've been to him every year at budget time saying, Michael, what do you need? The only thing that he ever said that he needed was to redo the floor in the kennels. And we all know that that was a disaster. It needed to be redone.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't ever ask. But, you know, I stop there occasionally, and the Lassie people are very, very good. They walk the dogs and do all of that. There may be one of those people that's interested in doing some office work, you know, and helping out. But personally, I would support giving the animal control, you know, the amount, just a little bit of staff that they're asking.
I don't have an issue with it either.
Great.
Yes, Mr. Baker.
Well, there's no doubt that in the summertime our resident population increases, our visitor population increases, and with those come dogs. So there's my family said plenty of opportunities where it's a beach and the beach says no dogs, and there's dogs everywhere, and they're a problem. And the owners of those dogs are a problem at times, and so we need somebody who can go and enforce those policies, who can deal with the paperwork, who can deal with the adoptions. And so I'm not saying all dog owners are a problem. I'm just saying the ones that are inconsiderate to other people are a problem. So if you don't like that, they can come talk to me personally. It's quite all right. So.
Okay. All right, Ms. Biard, again, Building Department Secretary hours adjustment.
So currently, Connie is our part-time worker in the building department, and she increases her hours with approval from the board during the summer months. Well, more so 8 months rather than 4, because that's their busy time. They are asking that we allow her to work 35 hours a week during those 8 months, and then 27 hours a week for the other 4 months. This would move her to full-time, and those funds would come strictly from the building department fund, no general fund dollars, to help with those busy times.
Hey, yeah,
Seems reasonable.
all right. I'll keep moving on. Reappointment of Mr. Robert Walker to West Michigan Community Mental Health Board.
Mr. Walker's term is up on the West Michigan Community Mental Health Board. He has asked to be reappointed, and this is for another 3-year term.
Okay.
I'm not gonna arm wrestle him for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank you.
You know what, I said to the ladies out in the hall this morning that if I keep going there, after one of these meetings, they're gonna ask me to stay for a while.
Yeah. Mr. Walker, we need to have an intervention.
You know, thank you for joining that. I guess we'll keep going. Appointment of Melissa Fearing to the West Michigan Community Mental Health Board.
So the Mental Health Board had a gentleman that had decided he didn't want to continue his term.
No,
No?
he passed away.
Oh,
Jim-
wow,
he-
my bad, sorry.
Jim Prince passed away.
Okay.
And he
So
had,
his-
excuse me for interrupting.
Yes,
And
no,
he
that's
had
fine.
been on the mental health board for over 40 years.
I appreciate that
And
you interrupted.
He was a very, very valuable person on the mental health board.
So this is for his unexpired term, which ends at the end of next month. And then they're also asking for her to be appointed for the 3-year term following that. So, as his replacement.
May I ask, did everybody have the chance to look at her resume and her background?
Yeah.
What?
I think she's a good candidate for it.
Yeah, the mental health board, executive board met last night, and they also, requested that we would do that.
Okay. Ms. Biardigan, Administrator's Review of Selected Claims for Payment and Administrator's Report.
So the claims for payment have been provided to you. Is there any questions on those?
Yeah, I have one. $5,000 to the Ludington Police Department for software contributions. Was that something that was budgeted?
It's a annual payment we make to them. They provide computer forensic phone downloads for us. Generally, we've paid that ourselves out of our own budget every year, but that has they've taken over the invoicing on it, so then they just billed us. So generally, we pay it directly, but they've taken over the invoicing, so it's not directly under our department, it's under theirs. So they just they just sent us the invoice.
I got to meet and know Ferris graduate during our 50th reunion, who is a forensic cell phone auditor for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He works in Quantico, and I asked him about that, and he says sometimes it may take him 2 weeks or 2 months to extract things. He said the technology now, it's almost impossible to extract things from cell phones.
It's a very moving target to keep up with that technology, and
do we use it that often?
Regularly, like monthly. They take phones up regularly. It's a great partnership. Chief Barnett started that program when he was the chief there, between Mason County Sheriff's Office and Ludington PD and ourselves, as well as some of the other municipal agencies. And it's been a great partnership. We kind of spread out the costs of multiple different software platforms to be able to kind of keep up with it, and to be able to get that data when we need it. Sometimes we send those computers and or phones down to Grand Rapids to the ICAC at the state police. That takes a very, very long time to get that information back, whereas when we use the Ludington lab, it's much, much quicker turnaround. So it's been a great partnership with, albeit very little expense.
I will support it, Undersheriff, but I'm gonna ask a favor.
Sure.
Please put in the budget from this time forward, when we do budgets.
Absolutely.
If that,
I believe it is included in the budget.
Yeah, it's not extra. It's coming out of our budget.
Yeah,
okay.
it's coming out of the sheriff's
Was
department.
it specified as that in the budget, in the request?
I believe that was part of the list that
Okay.
were provided.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Okay, there's an administrator's report in your packet. I do have a couple extra things. I received a phone call this week from Erin Kuhn with Windsor-Dick, and she was calling to inform me, and she's going to be reaching out to the surrounding counties about us being one of 7 regions that they're going to be conducting a regional GIS program, and Windsor-Dick put in an RFP and they ended up getting the bid for that, and this is going to be layers on top of the maps that we will have, that our board approved, for sewer and for roads. They're going to ask that we do, there's going to be a mass email that goes out, and they're going to have us fill out surveys for that, but Erin's going to be working on that on a regional level with Oceana County and our region. So I will keep you up to date on where that is going. I mentioned, I don't remember if it was the last meeting, their meeting before that, but talked a little bit about indigent defense and the fact that we had put in a request with them for indirect costs, and we were on our 3rd request with them, and because they had denied it in the past. We were talking about $33,000 just for Oceana County. Some of the counties decided they didn't want to move forward with it. They were just going to leave it alone, the ones that worked with Karen Moore and her group. But there were 5 counties, including ours, that had still submitted those requests to get those indirect costs. We received notice on our 3rd the submission that they were not going to allow those indirect costs. Karen Moore's asking those 5 counties that are still in the running if we want to move forward with mediation, possibly litigation. I know Clare County was one of them, and they said that they're not moving forward with it. I did hear back from Toby Lake from Lake County yesterday. He did inform me that his board voted to authorize him to pursue mediation and, if needed, possibly litigation. And he said that he welcomes any of the other counties to share in the cost sharing with the mediation and litigation if anyone else decides to move forward with it. So I'm asking the board how you would like to proceed.
Mr. Walker.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Mediation isn't that expensive. I think it makes a lot of sense at least to stay in the ball game until after mediation is done and see what the mediator says. And if we'll only be paying, if Lake County's in, we'll be paying 50% of the mediator.
Right.
And if there's anybody else, you know, I just think we need to look at that.
Yeah. And we can decide at that point if it.
Yeah. Let you know, go through mediation, or make a decision if we're gonna be involved with the next step. And in the meantime, some of us who interact with the other counties, the commissioners from the other counties, we can have a conversation up in Cadillac, because we can talk to the commissioners up there and see what
was there a reason that Claire wasn't going to do the mediation, or?
Yeah, I don't know. We just got an email back from her yesterday that said that let's see, after giving this considerable thought, Clare County does not believe mediation would be worthwhile or in their best interest. But, you know, we charge indirect costs to a lot of our other funds.
Sure.
And we were told when we initially started with indigent defense that the state was going to cover those costs, anything above our yearly costs, and I think $33,000 is worth fighting for.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know if you want to add a motion to the agenda to say you authorize me to do that, or
Probably should.
We can do that, yeah.
And we'll ask Mr. Beggs to read that motion if you get one for him.
okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other? You're good? All right, any department head reports for finance and administration? And Mr. Gary McKean.
Just wanted to make you aware of a House bill the Michigan House just passed unanimously and moved on to the Senate. It's House Bill 55317, and the House has moved a series of workforce, public health, and local government bills forward. What's of interest for Oceana County Parks is the bill would allow counties with less than 100,000 residents to reduce their size of their Parks and Rec Commission beginning in 27, and they could go to 4 actually. So the way the parks work right now is we have 7 appointed directly by the county board, and there's 3 of us that serve from other functions: Drain Commission, Road Commission. I'm on the Planning Commission. What this bill would allow is the county board to go to 4 appointed members from 7. I would strongly urge not to do that. We have a wonderful group of people on our board. I have a list of people that would like to be on our board in the future, and the opportunity for involvement with the community from multiple parts of the county, I think, is really important. So I would, if this comes to a visit with you folks in the near future, I would recommend tabling this or not accepting it and just go on like we have been. So 10 works really good for us.
Thank you.
I won't say anything more.
Been helpful, Gary. All right, any other department head reports? Any public comment this time for Finance and Administration Committee? Hearing none, we will adjourn the Finance and Administration Committee meeting, and we'll start the regular board meeting at 11:30.